We, cinephiles, have plenty of brilliant film directors working today. There are so many that in fact it would be impossible to fit all of them into a top 10 ranking. However, some of them and their films hold special place in my heart. Welcome to my second subjective top 10 list, and since the theme of Move the Mind Season 2 is about authors, today we'll take a look at my top 10 contemporary movie directors. But before we start, I'd like to make a few honorable mentions. Oh boy! Firstly, Martin Scorsese, Steven Spielberg, Brian De Palma, Michael Haneke, Ridley Scott, Robert Zemeckis, David Lynch and David Cronenberg. All of them contributed a lot to many milestones, which pretty much got cinema to the point in which it is today. Yet a lion's share of their work and their respective golden eras are usually dated for the 70s, 80s and 90s, and today's episode's topic is rather about directors at the peak of their creative work. Now, secondly, Alfonso Cuarón, Edgar Wright, Guillermo del Toro, Damien Chazelle, Taika Waititi, Bong Joon-ho, Jacques Audiard and Cary Joji Fukunaga. All of those authors are award-winning and excelling at what they do, but as I've already said, the special place in my cinema-loving heart is occupied by a few other names. So, as we are past the honorable mentions point, let's get down to my actual top 10. Number 10. Quentin Tarantino, 56 years old, 9 films. Okay, I know that the master of dialogue, the critics and cinephiles darling alike, occupying the last spot on my list, is probably going to outrage some of you. But hear me out on this. It's absolutely nothing personal. I'm simply fond of a bit different type of films more, and that's it. Nevertheless, his name certainly had to appear in this video. And about his retirement after Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, well, he had already retired once after The Hateful Eight, right? So maybe he'll retire the third time as well. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Number 9. Christopher Nolan, 46 years old, 10 films. And here goes yet another film buff's darling. In terms of a practical approach to filmmaking, there is no one like Nolan. Did you know that he actually sank an IMAX camera during the filming of Dunkirk because he wanted to have a real shot of an airplane crashing into the ocean with a camera attached to its wing? You have to be mad to do such things. Completely, positively mad. And I don't get furious when Christopher Nolan is helmed as the next Kubrick at all. Number 8. Alejandro González Iñárritu, 55 years old, 7 films. Rarely do a filmmaker create two mesmerizingly different masterpieces in a row, and this guy made Birdman and The Revenant in a row. He has a unique touch to the craft of directing, and the famous Iñárritu-Lubezki duo, they provided us with a handful of visually breathtaking scenes. Number 7. Steve McQueen, 49 years old, 4 films. The first time I watched Steve McQueen's Shame was a total game changer for me. This director punches the viewer in the face with an absolute honesty to his craft. And even the fact that he's made only 4 feature films so far is not discouraging at all because of how many topics he can possibly pick for his future flicks. Number 6. David Fincher, 56 years old, 10 films. 7. Fight Club, Zodiac, The Social Network. The most perfectionist film director around has some cult classics under his belt. When it comes to me, my favorite Fincher films are probably The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Gone Girl and The Game. And I love how precisely he utilizes every single film technique available, and how easily recognizable his signature style is. His films are like orchestra compositions. Every little piece plays a vital part in the whole. And there are tons of great video essays on YouTube about how David Fincher uses close-ups in his movies, which I highly recommend checking out. Number 5. Nicholas Winding Refn, 48 years old, 11 films. Speaking of recognizable style, Nicholas Winding Refn, a Danish-turned-Hollywood director, doesn't shy away from atmospheric imagery, graphic violence, and great performances. And the way he utilizes light and color in his films are from another planet. And that's unintentionally ironic, since he is colorblind. If that name doesn't ring a bell to you, you still probably heard about the Pusher trilogy, and Drive with Ryan Gosling, and Neon Demon with Elle Fanning, but if you're looking for a real crazy Refn-style ride, go check out Valhalla Rising with Mads Mikkelsen, and Bronson with Tom Hardy. You will lose your mind. Number 4. Spike Jonze. 49 years old, 4 films. I have a soft spot for a good, quirky movie, and Spike Jonze is a true master of those, being John Malkovich adaptation Where the Wild Things Are. His latest, Her, with Joaquin Phoenix, Scarlett Johansson and Amy Adams, is one of my favorite films of all time. Jonze is a masterful storyteller, with a genuine sixth sense for humor and heartbreaking sadness in his films. Not to mention his brilliant, refreshing work in the field of advertising. The only thing I don't like about Spike Jonze is how rarely he makes new films. Number 3. Bennett Miller. 52 years old, 3 films. Another master storyteller on board. He specializes in based on true story movies, and he excels at delivering them. His vision is always deft, poignant, and strictly to the point, and it's easy to see how expertly he conducts his stories. Also an expert in guiding actors. Philip Seymour Hoffman in Capote, Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill in Moneyball, or Steve Carell and Channing Tatum in Foxcatcher. And despite the fact he's made only 3 movies this far, they are dense and unforgettable to a degree which is hard to find in many more prolific authors. Plus, in season 1 of Moved Mind, I made a video essay on his latest film, Foxcatcher, so you can go check it out if you're interested. Number 2. Denis Villeneuve. 51 years old, 9 films. This guy, from Quebec, popped up from thin air in Hollywood and on almost every cinema screen elsewhere with his gripping thriller Prisoners, with Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal, Paul Dano, and many more. I am a hardcore crime mysteries fan, and Prisoners is one of my very favorites. Just so you know, it's a big deal. And then he went on to direct Enemy, Sicario, and Arrival, 3 perfect movies. And then he accomplished the impossible by directing Blade Runner 2049, a ridiculously rich in themes sequel that turned out far superior to Ridley Scott's cult classic. Villeneuve makes the most complicated sequence look easy, beautiful, and haunting. He hasn't done a mediocre movie yet. And now, he went on to accomplish yet another impossible, a 2-part Dune. So, here we are. The last thing to do here is to cover the last pick, and it's an absolute top-notch pick for me. Without further ado, number 1. Paul Thomas Anderson, 49 years old, 8 films. To me, no other film director in the world possesses such an intelligent, riveting, essential style of both writing and directing, which, with each new title, is refreshing and exciting, but at the same time staying familiar and brilliant all the way. Let it be all-time classics like Boogie Nights, Magnolia, There Will Be Blood, or my less-known favorites, Punch Drunk Love, The Master, Inherent Vice, Phantom Thread. They are all high-end cinema. PTA's visual imagination, his signature master shots, collaborations with late Philip Seymour Hoffman, Joaquin Phoenix, or Johnny Greenwood. He's always surprising his audience with interesting career choices and makes vibrant, gorgeous music videos. This is what I call a truly moved mind, and each new movie of his is, for me, a reason to celebrate. And that was my top 10 contemporary movie directors list. Thanks for sticking up with me to this point. And let me remind you that it was my very own subjective list, and it is not any kind of an objective ranking by any means. Also, I trust that you will not shy away from sharing your picks for the best filmmakers working today. Let's move our minds in a fun discussion. I always felt engaged in the world of film directors, since I am an aspiring filmmaker myself. The first and most important element for a movie to be worth a while is the director. And we, the faithful audience, live in happy times, because not only the film industry becomes more diverse and inventive, but also many talented filmmakers get the possibility to craft genuine, masterful and unforgettable cinema. Hi, I am Kuba, and you are in my Move the Mind Season 2, Authors. If you liked it, give me a like and subscribe to this channel, and consider leaving a comment as well, because as much as I love doing those subjective lists of mine, the biggest pleasure of it all is discussing it with you guys. See ya in 2 weeks in the next episode. Dziękuję za prześledzenie tej listy razem ze mną. Nie zapomnij zostawić ze sobą kciuka w górę, subskrypcji oraz komentarza. Największą frajdą stworzenia tych top 10 zdecydowanie jest dyskutowanie z Tobą, moi drogi widzu. Zapraszam do linku w opisie oraz do zobaczenia, jak zawsze, za 2 tygodnie w kolejnym odcinku.